The stories that are most important to us are stories about me, you, and others. Such stories are about politics, economy, landmark achievements, institutions, sports, and entertainment. The stories that are most important to us are stories about me, you, and others. Such stories are about politics, economy, landmark achievements, institutions, sports, and entertainment. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're watching me. My name is Valentine Gbenga, and I'm right here again on a brand new edition of your favorite program, Valentine, Goldfish with Valentine Gbenga. And like we usually do on this program, there's always a big fish in the house that you are going to be seeing today. And trust me, for those of you that have seen it on the publicities, maybe you know. And for those of you that have not seen in our promotions and publicities, maybe you do not know. But trust me, this is a big fish in a big pound. Today is going to be another a very eventful day. And trust me, you are going to go home with a lot of information, and possibly you're going to go home with some more inspiration than you can even imagine. I have with me in the studio His Royal Highness the Onidera of Idera, Oba James Oladipo Buremoh, the Ajagungbade one of Idera land. I will be bringing him to the screen very shortly, but I just want to tell you that today you will have the opportunity of speaking with Kabiesi if you want to make a call, and it's going to be only WhatsApp call. You can also join us in the comment section if you want to make you want to be a part of the program by suggestions, observations, or you have questions that you have to him you want to give to him. That is if you cannot make a call, but the lines will not be open until when I put up the information that you can call in. So it's going to be WhatsApp call only. For people in United Kingdom, it's about 2 o'clock now. People in Nigeria, it's about 2 o'clock. But here in DC, Maryland, it's 9 a.m. And I'm sure in Nigeria too, it's about 2 p.m. Nigerian time on Saturday. It's going to be a very beautiful day today. And the next 1.5 hours is going to be very exciting. It's going to be very interesting. And it's going to be very educative. Once again, you're welcome to your favorite program, Goldfish with Valentine Gbenga. I'll be right back after this timeout. The stories that are most important to us are stories about me, you, and others. Such stories are about politics, economy, landmark achievements, institutions, sports, and entertainment. All right. You're welcome back. If you're just joining, the program is Goldfish with Valentine Gbenga. And I have in the house on the screen with me I can call him the Alayelua. I mean, pardon me to use that acronym, but is our royal father, my royal father, one of the kings that I've met that I know that the royalty in him is not just in the appendage of name, but also in the character of identity. Viewers, I want you to join me to welcome Oba James Oladipo Arukola Buremoh Ajagungbade one. Kabiyesi, you're most welcome to the program today.
It's my pleasure to be here on your program, Mr. Valentine. Great to see you again.
It's great to see you, Kabiyesi. And there's something that I know that when I see you, it comes with an identity. I don't know if I should ask you, and if people at home may also want to know, do you ever have a bad day? Because there's always this smile on your face. There's always this enthusiasm around you. How do you do it? And do you ever have a bad day? Let's start from there.
My brother, there's nothing like being happy. I keep myself happy, and that's why I keep looking younger by the day.
I
So
know you.
I'm never sad. I'm never angry. I just, hey, don't be happy. That's all.
Just be
Don't worry,
happy.
be happy. Yes.
All right. I have a short profile that I'm going to say about Kabiyesi, but I changed my mind. I might be saying that later, but rather I would like to make some inquisitive questions. Kabiyesi, I mean, from you, from your own lips, from your mouth, can you just tell us briefly about yourself?
Oh, wow. Well, my name's His Royal Highness Oba James Oladipo Buremoh Ajagungbade one, the only Dera of Idera in Ilere district of Federal Local Government, Kwara State. And of course, I used to be a professional wrestler. I was once a world champion wrestler named Bloody the African Tiger.
Wow, that is very brief. But okay, let's know some little things about your growth. I mean, growing up, where were you born? How did you grow up? I mean, what was growing up like?
Well, I was born to the family of Chief and Mrs. Babalola Buremoh from the Jadwala Royal House of Idera. And of course, I was born in Igbaja. I went to Ekwa Demonstration School in Igbaja, and I attended Playfair Memorial College at Urago. I did a little stint, a 1 year stint at Kabbat Teachers College, before I proceeded to the United States in 1977. I attended Columbus College. I graduated. I worked a little bit for 1 year for Shell Oil Company in Deer Park, Texas. That's right next to Houston. And hey, while I was in school, I was always very good in sports. My testimonial in secondary school read an all-rounder in sports. So while I was in college in the United States, I was always lifting weights. I played American football. And one thing led to the other, stayed lifting weights, kept watching wrestling. One day, I went to the arena in Houston, Texas. I was invited to join the, professional wrestling ranks. I trained for 9 months, got my license. Hey, that was how I started. In 1982, I started wrestling. I started professional wrestling, and the rest is history.
Wow, that deserve more than a round of applause. And I say kudos to you. But is there something that you have not done? Because looking at your CV, what you have said, you have touched almost every part. And the Ladi African Tiger that I know, on this program, we talk about economy, polity, we talk about entertainment, we talk about sports. And it looks like maybe you are the first fish that has touched almost every department of our discourse on this program. I mean, I say kudos to you again. Okay, before we continue, I'm going to let our viewers just have a taste of this video clip. When I come back, my first few questions is going to be based on what I'm going to show people, and then we can kick it up from there. Distinguished
Okay.
viewers at home, let me just give you a taste of who or what Oba James Oladipo Arukola Buremoh Ajagungbade one, what is all about him. Happy very.
Ready. Diving in on top of the news border. 1, 2, 3. And Laddie, the African Tiger, picks up the victory. What a tremendous comeback by this young man. One of
Those are some of the action clips of the monarch as Ladi African Tiger in his youthful days. Now can you take a guess as to whom you saw frying Gary? Well, that is the Onidera of Idera Oba Oladipo Buremoh Ajagungbade I, displaying his mastery in the art of frying Gary. Humility personified, you would agree, the royal father did not stop at that, as he equally engages students in class as one of his passion towards developing his community.
Who's this? Eh? Tortoise.
No wonder this core member, having seen the monarch's drive towards enhancing the standard of education in his kingdom, voluntarily goes to Idera once a week for extra moral lessons.
My original plan was to go into educational rural development, so I came across KBSC and I spoke to KBSC, and he saw it as an awesome idea.
With peaceful coexistence as his watchword, Oba Oladipo Buremoh rules over different ethnic groups who migrated to his community for greener pastures.
See, they peacefully, no any problem. I benefit for farm. One. Two, the place that I live, my children are not going to school, but I come here, they are going to school.
The monarch also travels outside the country to work and raise funds with which he develops his community.
Before I became Oba, I lived in New York. I work with New York City sightseeing company. It's a sightseeing company. I mean, we'll take people around from all over the world in New York City. And once they realized that I was made king, they told me, we'll allow you to retain your job for life. And because as far as they were concerned, they couldn't understand why, I was royalty, I was a prince, and I never let them know that I was a prince. I told them I didn't have to. But then I saw the opportunity to develop my community. With whatever I make there, I come home and I use it with help from other friends to develop my community. You've seen the difference.
Though Idera is endowed with agricultural and mineral resources, it is not without its challenges.
Because our place is very good for cassava.
You're welcome back, viewers. KBSC, that was awesome. And I say congratulations to you and to all our viewers watching. I mean, you can go into the comment section. If you're watching via YouTube or Facebook, you can please just drop your question. We'll get it. And I have one of the viewers watching, Ms. Mojisola Abubakar. She has a question. And she says, oh my God, we need your advice, KBSC, for some of us that are afraid to come back home. You are definitely an inspiration to some of us. So I want to draw a question out of this. Is there something that you think people need to do, or what needs to be in place to come back home? Now I'm talking about I'm talking from the diasporan perspective. What do you think?
That's right. There's no fear in going back home. Even when I go to the US, even this last year, a lot of people were telling me, I mean, KBSC, why are you going home? Why are you going home? I told them I signed a contract for life. I signed a contract with the community, and nothing is going to happen to me. Once you have it in your mind that you're going to be all right, the fact that you are, whatever it is you're doing is to uplift the lives of others, definitely you'll be rest assured that nothing is going to happen to you, because even their prayers will not allow anything to happen to you. So I don't have any fears coming home. I implore people, do not fear coming to Nigeria. Yeah, there are incidences here and there, but then do not let that deter you from coming back home. Home is always going to be home.
Now I'm going to get right into the interview. KBSC, comparatively, you have lived in the United States, you grew up here, you worked here, you've seen things here. I mean, comparatively, do you think anybody with what is going on in Nigeria right now, security, unemployment, for somebody who has enjoyed some measure of bliss in a diaspora, let me use United States of America as an example, how much do you think of inspiration anybody gets to go back into what is going on in Nigeria now? Economically, politically, in terms of security?
Well, security is not that, it's not at its best in Nigeria right now. Actually, it's not really encouraging. And that's why with the last election that just happened, we're just praying that the security aspect of it gets better. And that's basically what everybody keeps fighting for. I mean, during the election, just before the election, the kidnappings and all that stopped. It started a little bit again, but then you're talking about almost 300 million Nigerians. It can happen to anybody. But if you have your mind set that you want to go home, home is always going to be home. I lived in the U.S. for upward of 40 years plus, and the fact that I've already taken it up on myself to help people. Believe me, there's nothing like it. There is absolutely nothing like it. You will never be at home in the U.S. You will never be at home.
Kabiesi, when you left Nigeria, was it as a result of this syndrome or mantra of Japa? Was it like?
Oh no. When I left Nigeria in 1977, I went to the U.S. to go to school, and I was always very good in sports, all kinds of sports. I was an all-rounder, and I was hoping that one of these days, I will be able to make it big in some kind of sport, so I can come back home. And I just did everything I could. I was dedicated to being a success.
So when you were hoping, were you able to achieve all those hopes and aspirations? Oh, you hope.
Well, I thank God because I was able to. I mean, in the field of wrestling, I never actually thought I was going to wrestle. I thought I was going to play American football, But then the fact that I didn't play football while I was in high school, that was a shortcoming for me. But the fact that I lifted weights and I was huge, I had a big upper body, I had the strength, the brute strength, and then all I did was a little training to be able to, make it good into wrestling. And I was able to, get good into wrestling. So I got a license as a professional wrestler, and I wrestled. I wrestled for 9 years. I won the world title in 1988. Hey, that's the pinnacle. That's the peak of of success in wrestling.
The picture I have on my screen, could that by any standard be my king? Could that in any way be?
Do you see the crown? Do you see the cap on my head right there? In the picture,
you knew you were going to be a king.
Do you see the cap on my head?
Yes,
I see. That was 1986. I never knew I was going to be king. Never. But then I had a friend in the U.S. back then. He was a soldier. He was actually a major, and he came. He lived in Houston, and he said he was going back home, and he said, "Well, I have a memento to give you." He gave me his cap. If you look at that cap right there, it's got a crown on top of it. It's got a crown right on.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. This was 1986. Right. That's like about almost 30 years ago.
You're talking about coincidence.
Wow.
I have that cap on my head. I used to go inside the ring with it, and and all of a sudden, when I became king, I was like, oh my God! If I had known back then that I would be king, I'm like, sure. But look how as God would have. I'm now a royal father. Look at that one. See that one right there. That was when I first started. I mean, that was 1982 right there. That was my 1982 picture. All brute strength. I looked like Kamala the Ugandan giant, back then.
I was just going to say this picture reminds me of Kamala of Uganda, but I'm sure you would have been some kind of maybe a senior to Kamala, because if by 1982 you were already into wrestling, because I think we got to know Kamala back. Later in like about 1986 or 1988. So
Kamala was my senior. Kamala was like 2 years my senior. Actually, it was because of Kamala that I got into wrestling. Kamala already started wrestling. And the guy that saw me at the arena in Houston, looked at me. Actually, Kamala wasn't from Africa. Kamala was from Tupelo, Mississippi. They just needed an image. They needed an African image to use to promote wrestling over there. And so they pictured an African in the shape of Kamala, and they painted his face and all that. But if you notice, he didn't talk. He didn't speak. He had a manager.
Was he deaf or dumb, or that was just a character he was playing?
Well, it was just a character. But then when this guy saw me, and they saw me at the arena, and they saw how huge I was, and the guy said, "Wait a minute, where are you from?" the test and accent? I said, yeah, I'm from Nigeria. You from Nigeria? You speak English like that? I said, yeah. Do you know you can become a wrestler? I said, no way. I'm
No
not,
way.
I'm not going to let anybody kill me. He said, no, you can't. I mean, we can use somebody like you. You're a real African. So we can put a real African there. And so they told me to think about it. I went and thought about it. After the following month, when they came back, I decided I was going to go for it. So I started training. And then when they gave me the license, my wrestling name was Oladipo, which was my real name. So they were calling me Oladipo. I mean, in the green corner from Nigeria, Oladipo. And, it sounded strange, it sounded funny. And after about 2-3 months, then they decided, hey, let's look for something, something catchy. I mean, so then I remembered Power Mike, I say,
Power Mike.
Power Mike was already there. But I loved Dick Tiger. Dick Tiger was a boxer, but I loved him so much. So I said, hey, my name is Laddie. My name is Oladipo, but they couldn't pronounce that Oladipo. So they shortened it to Laddie. So I said, okay, you people call me Laddie, so why not make it Laddie, the Nigerian tiger? The guy said, no, you're African. We want to depict the whole of Africa. Good. So that was where Laddie, the African tiger, came from. And it was killed after Kamala, the Ugandan giant.
Wow. Now, I want to believe you are very tested and you have you grew along the ranks and you've been able to conquer a lot of emissaries in the ring. I remember the first time I watched you in the ring and I saw you. Was it Oxbaker first or was it Mike? I can't remember.
No,
was it Assassin?
The assassin.
The assassin was the first one in Nigeria, right?
In Nigeria, yeah.
I had to travel back all the way to Lagos. I was just because I wanted to watch the wrestling. I was traveling between Lagos and Ilorin just because I wanted to watch. Now, because a lot of people will say those were drama. Oh, wrestling is stage performed. Were you really into competition or that was just another measure of acting?
Wrestling is sport entertainment. And when we were there, I mean, you give everything. You give everything. You go in that ring, you want to conquer, you want to win, because you want to make money, of course. Back then, we were making like $200 a fight. So we will fight like about 5-6 times a week. And you have to give it everything you got. But in the late 80s, Vince McMahon bought WWF from his father, and he named it WWE. They went on the stock market, and you know how that goes. They have to start creating the story. But when I was there, when we were making waves, you got to give it everything you got. You can imagine somebody lasting 45 minutes in that ring. Back then. Now you can see them just going for it, And back then we really didn't use anything. I possessed brute power, like the African power, and all that. And everybody was always saying,
when you say African power, well, Kabiesi, hold on a second, please. Well, I'm sorry to interrupt, but when you say African power, were you using juju?
Natural power. In the olden days, we used to go under the other tree, in the sun at night, in the evening, whatever. We used to. I mean, you call it the outside. They call it dembe. Maybe we call it a jakadi.
Right.
And we used to do that. So I sort of like put that into what I learned over there, and I sort of joined both of them together. So and I have that brute power, and so that's what I usually use to conquer my opponents. I use the headbutt, the flying headbutt, and I usually get to win.
That was your trademark, the flying headbutt.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's in the list of of the fights that you've had. Can we have maybe names listed among the people you conquered? Were you ever a heavyweight champion, undisputed or disputed?
Well, in wrestling, way back then, I was African, I was Nigerian, and I was black. Well, I would say there was discrimination way back then, but then they wouldn't allow anybody really black to, aspire anything more than the half of the cadre. And so I wanted to achieve, excellence in wrestling, so I kept going. But then in 1985, a freak accident happened. We used to wrestle like sometimes twice a day on the weekend. And there was this day we wrestled in Oklahoma City in the afternoon. And Tulsa, Oklahoma wasn't too far from there. So we finished in the afternoon. We went to Tulsa to wrestle in the evening. And the following day, we were going to go to Little Rock, Arkansas. I had this car, Lincoln Continental, with a long, long nose. And I had other wrestlers in the car with me. We had to drive to Little Rock, Arkansas. It was in September. And you know what September is like in the U.S. Fog. It was always foggy at night. And, as I was driving, I had my seniors right next to me. Actually, Andre the Giant was sitting right next to me. It was a Lincoln Continental, big car. So he was sitting right next to me. And you got two other wrestlers sitting in the back. One of the wrestlers sitting in the back was smoking. And I never smoked. And that was getting to me. So it was getting me a little drowsy. Unfortunately, I had the car on cruise control. As I was going, I saw something just cross the street. It was a deer. So I slammed on the brakes, and immediately it came back. So the car hit the deer, hit the windscreen, and hit me on the chest. And I really didn't feel anything because I was huge. You saw my picture back then. And so we went to Little Rock, Arkansas. In the morning, I went to the gym, I trained and all that. In the evening, we went to the arena to wrestle, and I wrestled against Dr. Steve Williams. And I wrestled for about 5 minutes. I started getting winded. And I'm like, something is going on with me. So the guy gave me a power slam. And that was all I could remember. That was all I remembered for about 6 days.
Give you a power slam.
A power slam. And that was all I remember for about 5 or 6 days. For some reason, during the accident, when the deer hit me, it broke my ribs on the left side. I didn't know. So when the guy gave me a power slam, the rib punctured my lungs. And wow. That was what happened. So after I got well, and then I was like, wait a minute. If anything had happened to me, that was 1985. If anything had happened to me, nobody at home would have known, because nobody at home knew anything, nobody knew what I was doing. And that was what brought it to my mind that I should go back home. So after I recuperated, after I got well, I decided I was going to go home. I looked exactly like that, when it happened. And so I floated Buremoh International Promotions, a wrestling promotional outfit. And then I invited the Assassin to Nigeria initially in 1986. And that was how I brought my my trade back to Nigeria. And the rest is history. From 1986 up till 1989, when I retired, I at least brought about 8 wrestlers to Nigeria. And I was in there with a lot of the Ric Flair, Ole Anderson, Earl Anderson, Kamala, the Ugandan Giants, what do you call it? The Junkyard Dog, Butch Reed, Hacksaw, Jim Duggan.
Did you ever fight Bigfoot?
Yeah, I actually brought Bigfoot to Nigeria also.
I was just trying to give a reminder. Yeah. And what about any time you fought Oxbaker?
Oxbaker, actually Rocky Johnson. You remember The Rock now? Yes. His father's name was Rocky Johnson. He was a wrestler. He was one of the ones that came to Nigeria with me. So I have fought against a lot of them. My dog Boss Sawyer, and I was in with a lot of those guys. And I'm kind of glad that I was able to experience what I experienced. I loved it. I enjoyed it while it lasted until I got hurt. I have broken a lot, so many parts of my body. But then in 1989, somebody gave me a pile driver outside the ring. Back then they didn't have pads on the floor outside the ring. So as big as I was, you can imagine somebody turning you upside down and going down with Unfortunately, his thigh, my head was supposed to hit his thigh. His thigh slipped, and I went straight on the floor. And City 2 and 3 just cracked, just snapped, and that was it. I felt like I didn't, I thought I was fine.
So you broke your neck,
Yes, that was what happened.
and that was
what happened.
that was retirement for you.
That was retirement, but it was from God, because if I hadn't retired, if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here. So everything that happened during my wrestling days, I felt was preparation for me getting on the throne, because at the end of the day, that was what I found out from my father. So, hey, destiny.
What a wonderful tale. Okay, I'm gonna take another short break. When I come back, I will be talking about Idera. Then we'll talk about some other things before we go into Nigerian polity and economy. All right, viewers, let's just quickly go for a break. The show continues when we come back. The stories that are most important to us are stories about me, you, and others. Such stories are about politics, economy, landmark achievements, institutions, sports, and entertainment. Viewers at home, you're welcome back. The program is Goldfish with Valentine Gbenga, and I have sitting, I don't want to call it on the hot seat, on the very important seat, I have His Royal Highness Oba James Oladipo Buremoh Ajagungbade 1, the Onidera of Idera Kingdom. Kabiyesi, you're welcome back. Okay, we just talked about your fight. Now let's go back to where you have your royalty, the kingdom that you rule and you sit on top. How has it been being a king? Because from being a world champion now to a royal father, everybody looking up to you, not only your community but to a lot of people, even nationally, internationally, globally. How does it feel to be a king?
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be truthful. It feels great, man. It feels great. The best thing, the most rewarding thing in this life is rendering service to humanity. And when you call selfless service, there are a lot of people that render service to humanity, but it's not selfless. They're doing it because of what they're going to get from it. A lot of people think about royalty as, okay, when you ascend the throne, I mean, you've arrived. You're there to just take and take. With me, I thank God, because with the way I was brought up to give. I've always watched my parents. My grandfather, he was dead before I was born, but I heard this story. He was always a giver. My father was the same way. My mom was the same way. So when I was at the throne, when I found out, I prayed about it, and God said, I want to use you as a beacon of light over that community. And with that statement, I had it in my left hand. I wasn't going to eat with it. And a beacon of light, which means you're supposed to, bring that community to limelight. And I thank God, ever since I ascended the throne, it's been one thing after the other. And it's been great. It's been it's
But how has this affected or how has this influenced your personal life? You know, you've been into wrestling, you've been somebody who has been into entertainment. Now you have to sit in the community. Now the personality has to change. I mean, it is very okay that you're using, I mean, what you have accrued over the years, you know, as personality, as a famous person, but you know, adjusting to those two different lifestyles. How has that been? How easy was that?
You know what made the adjustment easy? Humility. Humility. When you ascend a throne like this, you know, you feel invincible, you feel like you're the head of everybody. No, I don't feel like I'm the head, I don't feel like I'm the leader, I'm a servant. I see myself as a servant to the community. And everything I have done since I ascended the throne was serve. You know, I when I ascended the throne, you know, I only had one kid that graduated from secondary school, and I knew I had to, you know, I had to, take care of my kids. So I told them, I said, well, I don't have anything to do in Nigeria. If you want me to become king, you allow me to go back to the US, because that's where my job is. I haven't retired, and they agreed. You know, they agreed even before I ascended the throne. They agreed. So I said, okay. They were actually the ones that said, you can go wherever you want to go, just go, as long as you agree to be our king. So we went to the government. You know, they give me the leave of absence whenever I got ready to go, especially because of my health, because of what I have been put my body through in wrestling. I have to always go back there and take care of my health. So I decided to go to New York. You know, I mean, I was in New York. I was, you know, in the sightseeing industry. I was actually driving a bus. You know, I'm not ashamed of it, because I wanted something that have close proximity between Nigeria and America. I could have gotten a white collar job, but a white collar job, you get over there, you know, I mean, it will take you about 2-3 years before you can get two weeks holiday, I mean, vacation. But the job I got was seasonal. You know, you only work during the summertime, during the wintertime, you know, I mean, there's no customers. So, and that was good enough for me. I was making money, and whatever money I made, I come home with it. And something else I did was I saw some of my friends over there, give them chieftaincy titles, and they decided, hey, we're going to join you in lifting up the community. So I mean, my friends, whenever I come home, they'll send the same money. You know, I'll add it with whatever I make, used to develop the community, and that's what it's been. So it's been great. It's been great.
Well, I think you have a lot of well wishers, and I can see you have. I mean, I'm not surprised. You are popular. You are a global figure, and you can see I have Miss Adiola Oshagbemi. She is saying, "KBSO, the African tiger, long may your reign. I mean, long may you reign peacefully in the Idera kingdom."
Thank you so much.
And I also have Miss Mojishola again. Say, "Oh my God, okay. I think we have talked about this, and I have. Let me see." Olufemi Baba, good seeing you here.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's great.
That is the problem, Kabiyesi. Security and medical is the main issue. What can you tell us about it? Okay, I think Kabiyesi has. I mean, he already talked about the security issue. Maybe he didn't touch about. I mean, Kabiyesi, you want to say something about medical issues in Nigeria, or maybe perhaps in your community?
Yeah, that's one of the major, challenges that we have, and we've always had it. We only, in my community, we only had like a small dispensary. The dispensary has been there, you know, since the days of my father. I mean, it was constructed in 1973, and it became dilapidated. And you know, the local government have already taken it over, and they posted a nurse and all that. But it still wasn't enough. It served like about 13 different communities, you know, and we felt like this thing had to be, you know, brought back to life. And we tried and tried. The government, I mean, just like they say, I said, Yoruba, you know, I mean, and so we had to look inwards and, renovate the dispensary ourselves. But we've been looking up to the government to actually, elevate it to like a college hospital for us. And, this present government, they're looking at, they have actually, promised us that there's a World Bank,
project
that's coming, that they were going to elevate it to, college hospital for us. But then, let me tell you one thing. just a few days ago, the NYSC, here in Kwara State, they just, got in touch with me and said they have this medical outreach that they want to come to my community. It's something that's going on nationwide. They've done Ilorin South, I think Ilorin South or Ilorin West, and then the next community is supposed to be mine. I guess because they saw everything I've been doing, they say, hey, let's go, get this guy. And they're planning on coming sometime next month. And but it's something that the government can do better at. The health, providing health facilities for people, affordable health, health facilities for people. It will be great.
Moji Sola again is saying thank you, Kabiesi, for all the information. And Kabiesi, okay, I think that was there's this gentleman to Demola Yusuf. Thank you for bringing Kabiesi Gbenga. Thank you, I appreciate that. I've longed to have this opportunity to listen to him talk about his journey in wrestling. As a young filmmaker from Kwara, I'm looking to telling the world about our history and people. Kabiesi, somebody is already proposing a project. Possibly, I think we discussed this some time ago. I said all these things that you have done, I mean, cannot just go like that. We need to document it, possibly in a movie. And one thing I want to tell, one thing that Kabiesi has not talked about, a lot of you will not even know that Kabiesi is also a movie producer. Kabiesi, I'm very sure only very few of us know about that. Only very few of us. Maybe I'm going to let you talk about that later in the program. Let me see. I have another comment here. I can bet that there's so much to talk about in Kwara State. Yes, Demola, we are going to talk about, Kabiesi is going to talk about some things in Kwara State because he's one of our icons in Kwara State. St. Valentine, the Enigma, I'm proud of you. Thank you. That's one of my closest allies. We work together. And I remember when Kabiesi came to Nigeria in the early 90s, I remember I was working with Kwara State Council for Arts and Culture, then he would come, all of us would jump on his head, jump on his neck. I mean, it's been a long time coming. Yeah. All right, Kabiesi, let's go back now to Kwara. I want to leave it there a little bit, though we might still touch it. What's your relationship with people in power? People, maybe like other kings, like, people of royalty. What's your relationship like with people in royalty and people in administration?
When I ascended the throne, my throne was, I was just an urban. It wasn't graded, and so we were under the local government. But that notwithstanding, nobody. Seeing me out there, nobody knew that my stool wasn't graded. The way I interacted with all other Obas, you would think I was a first-class Oba, because they all. Who I was when I was a wrestler, I always interacted with everybody, young and old, king and all that. I interacted with them in a great manner. So we continued that, and all of them they used to say, how humble can this guy be? You wouldn't even know he was a world champion wrestler. So that humility, sort of made the transition into royalty easy for me. It made it, very, very easy for me. And I interact with a lot of them. I take them as my mentors. The Emir of Ilorin, Elese of Ibadan, Eleni of Erile, Olofa of Ofa, all of them, they're first class Obas. I interacted with them well. I sought a lot of advice from them. Anytime I needed, some advice, I have challenges, I go to them for advice, and it worked. And then, my stool became graded, and then I was able to interact more. The preceding government, it was a little difficult because we all know how it was. The government in Kwara State, they concentrated on Ilorin, development of Ilorin. And we were fighting to get them to even come to the hinterland. Look at us. We exist. Our people exist. But it really never happened. My road.
That was with the previous government, right?
With the previous administration. The road that led it to Idera was terrible. I would leave Ilorin and it take me like 4 hours to get to Idera. And I was like, oh my God, what do we do? For 3-4 years, I actually graded the road myself. I would, rent graders and grade the road myself. And that was one of the things that Adeola Fayem brought out then. And I was doing a lot of these things on my own. But then we got fortunate to have the present incumbent governor, Abdulrazak Abdurrahman, he came in, and I've always told the guy he's not a politician. The guy is a seasoned administrator. He started with Kwara North. Kwara North was, a part of Kwara State that was not touched at all.
Neglected.
Ever since I could remember, I went to Kayama one day, and just going to Kayama took me almost 16 hours to get there. And I was saying
this is not in any way political, but I'm saying this with every sense of humility, but no fear of contradiction. I remember some years back, I went to Okuta. I went to anchor an event for the then the Speaker of House of Assembly. I got back and I fell sick. It took a journey that is supposed to last for just about 3-4 hours. I was on the road for like about 12 hours.
That's right. Just like you're saying, this is not political, but you gotta tell the truth. You gotta say it exactly like it is. We did everything we could. We got nothing done. We did everything we could. We got nothing done. I love it, even for my road. I love it and love it. You know what lobbying meant. You know what it meant. They awarded my road. They opened it. They opened it. I was so glad. I even went and obliged them a lot of things for opening up the road. The granite that they're supposed to use to do, some bridges. The granite I was supposed to use to do my palace, I gave it to them. I loaned it to them to use. Up to today, I didn't get my granite back.
So have you been able to use your influence, your personality? Have you been able to use it for economic growth of Idera and the community?
Well, that's what I'm telling. That's what I'm trying to tell you. All of a sudden, overnight, this present governor, I didn't even know he was coming to Idera. He came to Idera unannounced. For 74 years we've been there. He came unannounced, and he just got there. And I was looking at him. He said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Well, it's my destiny to be here." He said, "I saw Adeola's podcast. What was happening, and what's going on here. I saw the road. I said, yeah, that's what we've been after. That's how we've been suffering." And to cut this short, the guy 5 days later awarded my road. He awarded the road that leads to Idera, and the rest is history. Within 6-7 months, now I have third road past Idera. It has opened up so much, and it's like he's a blessing, not just to Idera, but to all the communities in that axis. Yeah, and we're so
Yes. Because I'm a journalist and I follow a lot of people that matter. What is this bond between you and the government? Because I make bold to say I've seen you guys a couple of times together, trading places and all that. What is the common denominator between you and the governor?
Well, all the guys, he saw somebody that's active. He saw somebody that wants the best for his community. Just like he wants the best for Kwara, I want the best for the Idera community. He invited me to come to Dubai with him when I attended an economic summit. And during the summit, we look for investors, and investors are coming to Kwara. And this is the thing. The guy loves people that wants to get things done, because he gets things done, and that's why he looks it looks to me. And believe me, things that are happening in Idera right now. The vocational training center that I started about 3 weeks ago. I started it. It was just something that God said, go and do. I did. And as soon as he saw that, he said, hey, he called me and said, we're going to look at, having Kwasi, come work with you. You see how development is starting to come to Idera. And not just that. All of a sudden, there was another friend of mine, Alaja Anyike, in Indianapolis. She saw me. She said, "Kabiesi, please. What can I do in the Idera community? They proposed making me Yalaji of Idera. If you do, I would come on now. Can you tell me a piece of land so I can come and build a sachet and bottled water company in Idera?" I'm like, what are you saying? I'm not going to sell you any land. If you can get any land you want to. Even this morning, she contacted me and said, by December, it's going to become operational. And this is what we are talking about. When you want development for your community, you go through any length to get it done. You go through any length to get it done. And that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
In Kwara, that's what the governor is doing.
Well,
That's why you see both of us,
Kabiyesi, I'm very sure that your trip with His Excellency the Executive Governor of Kwara State, Alhaji Abdul Rahman Razak, did I get the name correctly? I
yes.
want to believe it went beyond just a mere tour and visit. What was the implication? What did you get out from that visit to Dubai? Were you able to bring any investor? What are they doing in Kwara State?
Well, I mean, I think it's something you gotta just wait and see what happens, because during the budget, I heard him announce a number of things, and I'm not going to jump the gun. Just let the gun shoot itself,
Okay,
So
okay.
that's not going to come from me.
I want to create something. I want you to say, because the next statement you are going to say may be documented. And in fact, will be documented, because it's going to the cloud. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be everywhere. And
Yeah.
I want you to say this as a matter of fact, as a citizen of Nigeria, not just an ordinary citizen, as a king. And this is not political again. The Kwara that you know, I want you to be very sincere. The Kwara that you know and the Kwara that you have now, what is the difference?
You cannot compare. I'm being apolitical. You cannot compare. The Kwara that I grew up in and the Kwara we have now are two different things entirely. When I had the opportunity to talk to him, I told him, "Sir, Your Excellency, sir, I mean, you are not a politician. You are a seasoned administrator, and you are what and who we have needed in Kwara for 20, 30 years before now. Now Kwara is better off for it. And I don't know what the implication of this would be, but I don't care. I'm speaking the truth. I'm saying it like I see. The guy is who we have needed for a long time. What he's doing now, I'm telling you that there are a number of local communities, a number of communities in Kwara State, Kwara South, Kwara North, whatever, that never witnessed any development during the past administration, that have now benefited. My community inclusive. So, I mean, that's why we all went out and voted for him for a second term. And I believe this second term is going to see Kwara is going to be so much better off for it. The guy is so selfless. He's selfless. He doesn't care. I don't see him amassing wealth, because he's going out with it. He's developing all these communities with it. And we're pushing him, we're begging him, we're imploring him to do better. And I know he will do better.
Okay. Just for sake of emphasis, I mean, no matter what, even when he does his first time or second time or third time, whatever has a beginning must have an end. So this, I want to just quickly drop a voice for other people that may also one day, I mean, be in that particular on that position that he is. What would be your advice to other people that may also be on that seat?
See, my advice to people will be to emulate Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak. What he's doing. Okay, when I introduced the community development, I mean, the what do you call it, the thing that I just introduced, he saw it, and the vocational training center, he saw it. I just put a few pictures, we did it on Saturday, on 25th. On Sunday, I just put a few clips on my WhatsApp status. And he wasn't even in the country. He saw it. He saw it on my status, and he called me. He said, Kabiyesi, good morning. Congratulations. I saw what you did yesterday. I said, thank you. All I'm doing is emulating what you're doing and complimenting your efforts. Because if you see what this guy is doing in Kwara, with these artisans, empowerment, it's incredible. It's the people that don't have any work to do, he will empower them. Look at Engineer Nuruddin Adeyemi, the Enact, I mean, these guys are performing selfless service. They're not expecting anything back. Just like I'm not expecting anything back from anybody. And God is going to continue to provide for me. But then, giving is the best thing anybody can do in life. Give up and you shall receive. Give and you shall receive. And I believe that's what our governor is doing. And he's going to really be continue to be blessed for it. I know the the companies that this guy have. I know the companies that his brother has. They're not looking for money.
Kabiyesi,
All
look.
they want is for Kwara to be better. So even after the next 4 years, anybody that will succeed him, I implore that person to, sort of imbibe a selfless, like a selfless service thing. Be prepared to go in there just to render service. Of
Okay.
course, the thing about you understand what I'm saying. But then make your watchword performing service to humanity, and that's the best thing anybody can do.
Okay, Kabiyesi, before I allow you to take a breather and quickly maybe sip on tea or some cold water just to
Yeah.
can you just comment on this just very briefly in like 2 or 3 statements? This is you, Frank Gary, Kabiyesi.
That's
Were you?
that's Gary Idera. That's me, personified. When I'm in Idera, I'm not a king. I'm just a member of the community. Gary Idera is like the best anywhere around. The best. It's double
Oh,
fried. It's
oh.
double fried.
Now
If you've ever tasted
Kabiyesi is
Gary Idera,
patronizing me. Kabiyesi is
oh
patronizing me now.
come on, you know that. If you've ever tasted Gary Idera, you know it's the best anywhere.
Kabiyesi, I
So,
know Gary Jebu, I know Gary Osi. Now you are coming up with this is franchise somehow.
right, but if you haven't tasted Gary Idera, believe me, you have something to look up to.
Kabiyesi, I'm actually looking for Gary. I will be waiting.
Yes.
The next time I see you, I will ask for Gary there.
And
The next time I see
do you
you.
know now? Do you know you can't even find Gary now because as they produce it, it's gone. As they produce, it's gone. Unfortunately, we've had a little challenge with the Fulanis, the Bororos that rear their cattle. They've not allowed us to be able to plant a lot of cassava because when you plant cassava, they just come there, they uproot it for their cattle. So that's the challenge we have now.
Wow.
But without that, Gary, even the smallest kid in the Idera, you see them frying Gary. So it's nothing to see Kabiyesi sitting down there for frying Gary. I'm advertising. But since that happened, they did Akoba Gary. Even last 2 weeks ago when I went home, I wanted to buy Gary for my people, bring Gary down. It took I was only able to get half a tin of Gary. That's because whenever anybody goes to Idera, the first thing they ask for is Gary. Where's the Gary? Where's the Gary? So we thank God for it. The cassava, the cashew has actually taken over from the Gary now.
I think we can also use this platform to tell interested people who wants to invest in some kind of a project that is very viable. Gary is one of those things that people can invest in. I think I'm also getting interested. I might want to do 1 or 2 things there in Idera, maybe in the production of Gary. It sounds good. Kabiyesi is making it look interesting. Okay, Kabiyesi, we're going to take another break. When I come back, we'll be talking about the stool, the kingship stool. The constitutional powers given to the kings, do they have, don't they have? All we'll be discussing, and you'll be knowing more about what the constitution says about kingship, royalty in Nigeria, not until after we come back. Please don't go away. The stories that are most important to us are stories about me, you, and others. Such stories are about politics, economy, landmark achievements, institutions, sports, and entertainment. Welcome back, viewers. If you are just joining, you have missed a lot, but you have not missed everything. So I have still sitting Kabiyesi, Oba James Oladipo Arukola. I love that name, Arukola. What does that mean, actually? I have him on the seat, and we're still on the program Goldfish with Valentine Gbenga. Kabiyesi, what does Arukola means? What does it mean?
Arukola is a sacred message of royalty. And that was the name that my grandmother gave me. My grandfather, supposedly, he died 2 years before I was born. And he, supposedly appeared to her through the dreams from beyond, told her to send a message to my father that to my mother that she should go and conceive. And after conception, 2 months before I was born, she sent another message to her. The child that you have inside you is a boy. You name him Oladipo Arukuola. That the job that her husband started, that was my grandfather, he wanted to come back and complete it. So supposedly I'm my grandfather reincarnated. He was the one that founded the community, it came down with a lot of people. He ruled for 7 years before he's passed on. And I'm the last born of the family of 9 children, 7 boys, 2 girls. And then my father on the 26th of May, 1994, told me that I was going to be king. I'm like, what are you talking about? I have 7 brothers. So what are you talking about? I'm going to be? He said, do you remember the story of David and Joseph in the Bible? Hey, that's you. That was why you were born. You were born to come and take it over. So that's the meaning of Arukola.
He who the crown fits, let him wear. I have some more comments. This one is from Miss Adiola. Oh, this is actually the director of Kwara State Council for Art and Culture. We were colleagues back then. Yeah, she's now the director of Kwara State Council, and I mean she's one of those people I respect very highly. And I think it's corroborating what we talk. He said we know he's a movie producer and also an actor. That's why I said, is there any part of this life that KBC has not touched? Is there anyone?
Well, we acted together on City Girls. I remember that.
Okay, City Girls. That was 1993, about 1994, thereabout.
Yeah.
And Joke says, "Long live KBC, may your reign be long."
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
KBC has it all. We need to make money from all your achievement by producing a movie or writing a book. You have a lot of people who are in entertainment here. I think all of us should come together and actually make it, maybe possibly come up with a documentary about KBC so that we can have it documented. And Director Art Council again says he's such a humble man, even before royalty and now. A lot of kudos to you. I just want to quickly go through.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for that. I'm humble.
Okay, I have Demola here saying, "Wow, I didn't know we were in the same trade as KBC. I won the AMVCA last year in the indigenous category and got 3 other nominations at the AMA Award. My biggest dream now is to put our dear Kwara on the map. Too many talents out there, but very little about us has been documented in films. It's time to make Kwara filmmaking friendly." Yes, these are the kind of people that I want. Mr. Demola, I'm sure that we have a lot of people. And one of the things that this platform is giving is also connecting, networking. I have the director of Council for Arts and Culture. You can get in touch with me. There are a lot of big movie producers that we have. Fortunately, Kunle Afolayan, a lot of people don't know that I'm also an actor. You can go and check some of my movies on Netflix, Tenants of the House. So we all can come together, and I'm proud to say that I'm also a Kwaran. No matter where I go, I'm also proud to say that. And KBS will always be there.
We're proud of you too. We're proud of you.
Thank you, KBS. And Jimon Schweib says, "Good job, my party of life." Thank you so much, my wonderful friend. It's a lot of comments here. KBS, but we have to move on now. So I am taking you a little bit away from entertainment. Let's get into something serious. And like people will say, "Mr. Valentine, why are you always getting at these people?" I might be saying some things that is going to challenge your thought. KBS, what is the place of a king in Nigeria?
Well, unfortunately, we haven't been allowed to play the role that we're supposed to play. We're the closest. We are the closest people to the grassroots. We're the ones that knows the nooks and crannies of Nigeria. We are the ones that should be, given the jobs of disseminating information to the public. But it's not happening. If you remember in the olden days, the 4-year Oni of Ife, they were in the legislature, and I don't know why
that was before 1976, when you have most of them in the state executive council.
Yeah, that was way before then. I mean, they had that rules, but for some reason it was usurped. It was taken away from them. And
Ka-
well,
Kabiesi, I got this excerpt and I want to quickly read some part of it. You know,
okay,
now somebody wrote, it was Deji Elumoye, one of our colleague in the media for confraternity, and he was writing. He said the National Traditional Council of Nigeria has called on the National Assembly Joint Committee on the review of the 1999 Constitution to ensure a constitutional provision is made with a view to creating rules for traditional rulers in
for
matters
traditional
involving
rulers,
religion,
yes,
culture, security, justice. Okay, this
that's
is a
right.
call. Now, the council also accused the regimes of General Agonye Ironsi, General Yakubu Gowon, and General Olusegun Obasanjo, all of them
Mm,
military rulers, of relegating the traditional institution to the background with no
mm,
constitutional role. Kabiesi.
that's right.
So, are we saying that royal fathers don't have no constitutional roles?
We don't. We don't. As far as the constitution is concerned, right
Should I
now we
say
don't.
should I say that is a shame on the constitution, or that is a shame on the leadership of Nigeria?
Well, it's the leadership, because it was the leadership that created the constitution. You know, so when they have all this, constitutional changes or whatever
Review.
that they do, they could have, they could have made it, they could have changed it, but they didn't. But they need to create the roles for us, because we're the, like I said initially, we're the ones closest to the grassroots. We're the ones that knows exactly what the grassroots wants. The people out there in the state headquarters, the people out there in the federal, they don't know. We have senators, we have House of Rep that don't even step in your community, in these rural communities. They go out there and represent us, yes, but they don't know what we need. They're not aware of the fact that we need a lot of stuff. So, but if they give us a role in that, we'll be able to let them know that these are the things that the rural communities need. These are the things that are needed in the rural areas.
So
And
Kabiesi, the advent of democracy, especially into Nigerian culture, the advent of democracy, can you say it has really been fruitful to us? Because he actually relegated the powers of the monarch. He took it away, because now leadership is done through or via election, which is supposed to be government of the people. But is it
yeah,
by the people, and is it for
by
the
the
people?
people, and
So,
for the people, exactly.
so
But
I will say,
it's no longer like that. People do not have say. They don't have say in what they get. They don't have say in who rules them. That, like, in the olden days, that's why they used to fear royal fathers. Oba Lashe, whatever the royal fathers say, hey, it's law, and that's it. But nowadays, it doesn't work that way any longer. So they need to give us that role, that prominent role to play, in the Constitution. Once it's embedded, it's written in the Constitution, then we will have the right to do what we need to do. But until that's done, we'll just have to, do their bidding. Whatever the politicians tell us to do, that's what we do.
Kabiyesi, how appropriate? Because now power has been given to the governors. Because the Land Act of 1979, after they reviewed the whole thing, that was during the regime of Obasanjo, took the powers of the king away, especially in ownership and lordship of the land,
Of the land.
and
Yeah.
and gave it to the governor. So how good is it that an executive governor can wake up in the morning, one morning, and just feel like, I don't like this king no more, and just dethrone him? How good do you think that is? Because that's how powerful governors are now.
Governors are very, very powerful nowadays. Look at what happened in Osun. Immediately after the governor stepped in, he just decided overnight. He suspended I think 3 or 4 kings, just like that. And it's now the people that are begging for him to bring them back. Even the traditional council, they're begging to, bring them back. Yeah, the governors have all this power. Yes, but we should revert back to the way it used to be in the olden days. Give traditional rulers their constitutional, roles, so that we can do what we need to do. We can represent the people the way we need to represent, the way the people need to be represented.
Yeah, Deji Elumoye still wrote here, because he was quoting what the chairman of the of the traditional council said, he said chairman of the council and the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Muhammad Saad, that was back then, said late General Ironsi's 1966 unitary government decree. Governor General Gowans and General Obasanjo 1967-97, the local government reform decrees respectively stripped traditional rulers of their power. Why would they strip them? That's my first question. And secondly, he said, and they gave all this power to local government council. Now, a king that is going to sustain and be on throne for as long as he lives, in a race against a governor or a local government chairman who is just going to be there for a tenure. How come or why was it that the traditional kings rulers, was it that they are not performing to par, or what was the sentiment?
Well, I wasn't. I was a little kid even then, when this happened, so I wouldn't know what they were doing, back then. But it has so much relegated the traditional rules into the background that, okay, now, we're supposed to be paid salary, by the government. If they don't pay you, what do you do? If you don't have a means of income, to sustain yourself, what do you do? So they're trying.
Permit me to speak Yoruba here, and
Yes.
I will try to translate for the benefit of non-speakers and non-hearers of Yoruba language. Back then, there's this Yoruba adage that says that Ori bibe ola lo oba iyi lo ba fi ori bibe she back in the days, because a king can just cut anybody's king. Now, people have kind of redefined this situation. So now kings appear in court. Now kings go to jail. Do you think this is right to our cultural content, or do you think is one of the advancements in westernization and modernization?
Well, that is the thing. Well, as far as our culture is concerned, it's absolutely. It has rubbished the culture. The traditional culture. It has. Ọba balori gbogbo ni tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀. Anything tó bá ṣe àṣegbé ni. Ìdájọ́ ọba ọwọ́ Ọlọ́run ló wà. It's only God that can punish a king. But now, the power is with the governor, the power is with the judiciary to punish a king. That needs to change. That needs to change. And the earlier we were able to do that, the better.
Well, so what do you see happening to our kings in the next foreseeable future? Do you see them having a place at all? Do you see them having a place at all in the constitution? Is there any way that somebody is going to come up from somewhere, like all the first-class kings? This is what I'm expecting from them. Maybe one day, let them make a kind of, an assembly for them to even make a case to the National Executive Council and say, okay, when you are reviewing this constitution, give us a role, because right now the office of the king is under the office of a local government and chieftaincy affairs. That means a commissioner can even order any king, first class, second class, or whatever class, even classless king, can just ask them, report to my office tomorrow morning. How good do you think has been for our culture and tradition?
Well, for right now, that is exactly what it is. In order for you to be able to have a say in the state government, you have to be like a first-class king. And because they're the ones that represented the Kwara. Let me put Kwara State as an example. The Kwara State Traditional Council, it constitutes the first-class Obas. So they have their own meetings. It's them. All we can do, in our local government traditional councils, advise the first-class Obas. There's the first-class Obas that attend the state traditional council meeting.
But what I'm saying is, like, despite their first-class citizenship, they still have no constitutional role. What I'm saying is, like, now, whether you are first class, fourth class, or third class, are we looking at any possibility? Is there a chance that one day these kings will have constitutional roles?
There's always hope. There's always hope. But in order for that to happen, the constitution has to change. The constitution of the federation has to change. If it doesn't change, then even if you go to court, you don't have any. You don't have any leg to sit on, because if it's not in the constitution, it's not a law. The law is what the law is, So if there's no role for us in the constitution, all we can do is cry till tomorrow, if that constitution is not changed, then there's nothing that can happen. So all we can do is what we have been doing, advising. We're advising the first class traditional rulers when they go over there. Hey, just like you said, create a forum where they can all meet and advise the hierarchy of the government. Give us a role in the constitution, and you never know. Somebody might get up there, like Alhaji Bola Tinubu Ashwaju is there now. I mean, he's gonna ascend the throne on the 29th of May. You never know. Hopefully, that will happen.
Well, I mean, that takes me back to some years back. I think during the reign of Abacha, I think so. One first class king from the north was just dethroned summarily, and possibly, I mean, kind of sent into exile. Was that like an antecedent or like a precedent for other kings? Like, hey, watch what you're saying. Are Obas?
Yeah, another one was dethroned just about 2 years ago. The former central bank governor, he was dethroned because, I'm sorry, I mean, this guy was advocating for the youth. He was advocating for the youth, and somebody didn't like it. So they just said, "Hey, I mean, get out of there," and he was dethroned. Somebody else was put there. So I mean, this kind of I mean, not just judicial, executive powers. Hey, it is what it is. But then, if the traditional, council of if we're allowed to represent our people the way we're supposed to, then things will get better.
Okay, by popular demand, some people are saying that they missed the video that they joined just at the tail end of watching that clip that I played about what is going on in Idera and about KBC. I'm just going to quickly oblige that person or those people that are saying they want to say. So we're going to just use that as a break too. When we come back, we'll be going further and, we'll be rounding up on the program. The Goldfish for today is the Onidera of Idera Kingdom, Oba Oladipo Buremoh Ajagungbade 1. He's been with us, and I'm sure if you're just joining, you've missed a lot, but you have not missed everything. So we'll be right back after this time out. Please don't go away.
Diving it on top of the new spoiler. 1, 2, 3. And Laddie, the African Tiger, picks up the victory. What a tremendous comeback by this young man. One of
Those are some of the action clips of the monarch as Laddie African Tiger in his youthful days. Now can you take a guess as to whom you saw frying Gary? Well, that is the Onidera of Idera Oba Oladipo Buremoh Ajagungbade I, displaying his mastery in the art of frying Gary. Humility personified, you would agree, the royal father did not stop at that, as he equally engages students in class as one of his passion towards developing his community.
Who is this?
No wonder this core member, having seen the monarch's drive towards enhancing the standard of education in his kingdom, voluntarily goes to Idera once a week for extra-moral lessons.
My original plan was to go into educational rural developments, so I came across KBC and I spoke to KBC, and he saw it as an awesome idea.
With peaceful coexistence as his watchword, Oba Oladipo Buremoh rules over different ethnic groups who migrated to his community for greener pastures.
See, they peacefully, no any problem. I benefit for farm. 1, 2. The place that I live, my children are not going to school, but I come here, they are going to school.
The monarch also travels outside the country to work and raise funds with which he develops his community.
Before I became Oba, I lived in New York. I work with New York City sightseeing company. It's a sightseeing company. I mean, we'll take people around from all over the world in New York City. And once they realized that I was made king, they told me, we'll allow you to retain your job for life. And because as far as they were concerned, they couldn't understand why, I was royalty, I was a prince, and I never let them know that I was a prince. I told them I didn't have to. But then I saw the opportunity to develop my community with whatever I make there. I come home and I use it with help from other friends to develop my community. You've seen the difference.
Though Idera is endowed with agricultural and mineral resources, it is not without its challenges.
Because our place is very good for cassava.
All right, you're welcome back. Sorry for that breaking transmission. We're back. Okay, now the lines are open. You can look at the number that scrolling at the bottom strip of the video in case we can get one or two callers before we conclude the program for today. So you can call in. The number to dial, WhatsApp call only, is 240-615-7388. Number again is 240-615-7388. You can call from all over the world. It's a WhatsApp call, so we can, in case you have anything you want to ask Kabiyesi, or you want to just say some things to him, you want to acknowledge what he has done, or you want to just observe anything, so you can start making your calls. Kabiyesi, what do we expect in the foreseeable future? What are your plans? Not only for Idera community, what do you have? Because Nigeria is our country. We need to salvage whatever we have on ground now. So what are your plans?
Well, I thank God for giving me life. As long as I breathe, I'm here to provide selfless service to humanity. I just started my foundation, the Light the Tiger Rural Development Foundation. And my goal is to help the helpless. And thank God he's been giving me the wherewithal to do that. I've been doing it since I ascended the throne. And I kickstarted it again with the Vocational Training Center. And, I'm looking forward to building a CBT center in Idera. Hopefully, with the help of God, by next year, I want it to be operational. It's going to serve, you got a lot of these kids that go to secondary school, they finish over there, they never even know what computer is like, all in the rural areas. So it will serve like about, you're talking about between 15 and 20 communities over there. And, ultimately, I'm looking at bringing in, a college of education to my community in Idera. And not just that, anybody that wants to help in developing my community, bringing industrialization to my community, I welcome with open hands. And I've already discussed with a few friends in the diaspora, and I'm caught aback as to what they're telling me. They've actually decided to organize a birthday party for me this year. When I get there, and they have promised to assist in raising funds to build the CBT center. So I really do appreciate a lot of them, and it's one of them that I told you just offered to start building a sachet and bottled water company plant in Idera, which wasn't she hit me from the back, and I was like, whoa. And all of a sudden they started 2 weeks ago. They started work 2 weeks ago, and they did the survey. They're going to come and start sinking their boreholes. So, and more like that. So
okay,
I'm using what I have to get what I need. Of course, it includes you. You are going to be my Arego Bani. The elections are coming up on the 1st of September. And it's people like this that make me tick. People like them and you. When people appreciate what you do, definitely they will help you. Definitely they will assist you. I've already retired. I've retired from whatever I do in the U.S. The age is telling, and then all the pains that I have gone through in wrestling, it's now coming back. Okay.
Yeah,
Sometimes this year I'm going to have a couple of knee replacements. But then what I'm looking forward to is developing not just my community, but all the communities in that axis, in the area axis. And if I'm able to do that, what posterity says about me is what matters. It's what matters to me. I'm not doing anything for what I can get, because I thank God for what He has given me, and I want to give back.
Let me push a little bit of tradition and culture, because I also want about what is your place with what is going on in Nigeria now, because even our children, I mean, look at because of globalization, or because we want this program to have wider reach. That is why we are speaking English language. But okay,
Yeah.
the content of tradition and culture is being eroded gradually from
Yeah.
our societies. You know, gone are the days where people believe that the morals and the sensibilities of us, like Yorubas, used to be what is superior. But right now, what we have learned from the Western world, what we have seen from our clothes to religion to language to everything, what do you think about that?
Well, guess what? The reverse is the case now. Do you know in the United States that there are Oyinbo people, not just in the United States alone, white people speak Yoruba better than we do.
Okay,
Now,
but they are doing it. But what about what about what is happening to us in our own country?
we don't want our children to speak Yoruba. We want them to speak English. We want them to be fluent in English, to the detriment of our own language, to the detriment of our own tradition, which is not good enough.
Even the tradition of greeting. How many
Yes.
children will wake up in the morning and prostrate? Now, prostrating is looking like you are being primitive and barbaric, and even parents are teaching their children that.
Guess what? That's one of the reasons I love my kids. I mean, even like the Kekele, you know him. You know him. You know Chile. You know my kids. They, as big as they are. So, you know, Chile is taller than me now. He's bigger than me. Whenever I get, but when I'm in Louisville, once I see Chile prostrate all the way. And it gives me so much joy. They will see me, he will prostrate. None of my kids will see me and not kneel down or prostrate. That's why, one of the reasons why I thank God. We need to make our children realize that they should not lose.
Kabiyesi, I'm challenging you and your ilks, other kings like you, because even if you guys don't have constitutional roles that you are playing now, maybe one of the ways you can win yourself into the heart of leaders is by taking up some responsibilities. Like, let's look at our curriculum of studies in the schools. You know, what are we teaching? Do we have our culture? In America, apart from academics, the moment you start your preschool, pre-K and all that, they start teaching you about American culture and their standard.
American history.
History.
That's right.
Now, you're not taught only about what has happened, but also about what should be done. But in our own curriculum of studies, everything has taken acculturation. Now we are being taught about, you know, other cultures of people. Even let's look at greetings. I mean, let's even look away from greetings alone. You know, children don't even want to ascribe. They see their own culture, tradition as inferior to what you have in the Western world. So you royal fathers, how can you help in this way? I mean, in issues like this.
Well, the only thing we actually can do is advise. Advisory. Position, because you cannot force it to happen in your own community. You can create laws. I mean, kids going. I remember in the olden days in Idera, you don't see an elder walking down the street and then you walk past him. No, you see an elder, Oloye or whatever, chief, walking down the street. You go the other way. Now it's no longer that way. But we can promulgate laws that say it's taboo for you to do it. Now, and if we start that in the traditional setting, maybe it will change.
For a system that does not even recognize the king in the constitutional provisions, do you think they are going to do that?
That is why that has to change. That is why that has to change. We're going to advocate for them to give us that role. Once that role is given to us, then we can perform the duties that we're made to perform. That's it.
Okay, Kabiyesi, thank you so much. It's been a very wonderful day. But before I let you go, there are just two more things. First of all, before I talk about the diaspora perspective, for those of us who live in the diaspora, we're going to look at the impact of that. And then I want people to also know that we have culture and we have tradition. So I want you to speak a summary of what you have said. I want you to say it in Yoruba language so that people will not just think that you occupy the seat. They should also know that you are a father of culture, father of tradition. I want you to speak Yoruba. Maybe like an abridged version of everything that you have said. Let's just say it, and then maybe I can go over that maybe with some Yoruba language too.
Yeah, but just like I said, mo rántí pé níjọ́hun ní láàrin ìlú Ìdẹ̀ra láàrin
níjọ́ wọn àná
níjọ́ wọn náà ni bọ́ bá ń lọ ọ̀lẹ́ rólóyè kó máa lọ níwájú kí wọ́n tọ́ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọdé àbí gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ ìlú kọ́ wá rìn kọ́ lọ pàdé ẹ̀ wọ́n bí ọ̀dà wàá gbẹ̀bùrú ni wàá gbẹ̀bùrú lọ ní ìsìn kò rí bẹ́ẹ̀ mọ́ ṣùgbọ́n bàbá lè ṣòfin ní ìsìn tó sọ pé ọlọ́run dẹ̀ ṣe ẹlẹ́mọ̀ṣọ́ mi ẹlẹ́mọ̀ṣọ́ Ìdẹ̀ra ó wà nítòsí mi ní ìsìn tó ń pọ̀ tí mò ń sọ tá a bá lè ṣòfin ní ìsìn pé ọmọdé kan ò gbọdọ̀ kọjá àbí kọ́lóyè máa kọjá kọ́mọdé wa máa rí fín àbí kẹ́ni kágbàlagbà kan máa kọjá kọ́mọdé máa rí fín ó gbọdọ̀ ní tá a ṣe níjọ́ òun bíbírú ẹ̀ bá ṣẹlẹ̀ ọmọ mú ẹran ni wọ́n mú ẹni tó bá rúfin irú ẹ̀ wọ́n kàn lọ mú ọmọ lọ mádìẹ tàbí kán mẹ́ran wọ́n ní kó lọ dáná àwọn olóyè ó jẹ àbá àwọn ìlú ó jẹ òun dẹ̀ ni ó sanwó ẹ̀
kábíyèsí àwọn àgbàlagbà ló sọ̀rọ̀ wọ́n ní ọba ba lórí gbogbo àmọ́ ṣọba ba lórí ilé ara ẹ̀ gan lọ́wọ́ tá a wà yìí ṣé òfin àti àgbékalẹ̀ àṣà tá a ní lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí ṣó fún ọba ṣó tiẹ̀ rí tọba rò rárá.
ohun tá à ń sọ náà nù káwọn olórí wa àwọn olórí wa ní Nàìjíríà òfin ìlú ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà òfin wa kàn fi sínú ẹ̀ kàn fún àwa ọba níṣẹ́ tá a mọ̀ ṣe iṣẹ́ tó yẹ ká mọ̀ ṣe ọba ló ba lórí ohun gbogbo àwa la súnmọ́ gbogbo àwọn ìgbèríko wọ̀nyí àwa la súnmọ́ wọn jù àwa la mọ̀ tó ń fẹ́ àwa la mọ̀ tó yẹ wọ́n so tán bá dẹ̀ sọ fún wa ó darí gbogbo owó tán pín yìí àkàngbọ́ kán pín owó ni owó òde nìkankan.
ṣé o pé ẹ̀yin kábíyèsí ò ní ẹ̀ ní túkúṣí kankan tẹ́yìn náà gbà kò sí pé ìṣọwọ́ kúdúrú nǹkan kan kó sí yín lápò.
níbo ló wà.
ẹ̀ ń dàn ojú yín ń dàn kábíyèsí ojú yín ń dàn.
pé ọmọ jòkó sínú owó ni pé bóyá a ní masíìnì kan méjì kan tí ń ṣe owó tí ń píríǹtì owó kò sí ní tí ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀.
kábíyèsí láì dènà pẹ̀lú pé.
a ní níjọ́ òun gbàgbàgbà ní bẹ láàfin ọba ní ìsìn mú wá ni o mú wá ni ẹni tó bá lọ àfin ọba ní ìsìn tó bá lọ lè rọba yóò máa retí pé ọba ó fún un ni.
kò sí gbèrú mi láàfin sọmí kalẹ̀ ni.
kò sí gbèrú mi láàfin sọmí kalẹ̀ ni sọmí kalẹ̀ ló wà sí so ọlọ́run ó ṣàánú wa kọ́lọ́ bá wa yí gbogbo ẹ̀ padà ẹni tó bá fẹ́ jọba ní ìsìn tí ò bá lówó lọ́wọ́ kan rẹ̀ ni.
kábíyèsí bó lè yan ṣe fẹ́ ríru yín ẹ̀kẹ́ lórí pùnpùn yìí tí gbogbo ara yín ń jọlọ yìí táwa sọ pé kò sí nǹkan kan tẹ̀ ń jẹ kábíyèsí láàrin èmi àti yín ṣé nǹkan kan mọ̀ bọ́ sí yín lápò.
ọlọ́run làwa ń jẹ ntọ́lọ́run ṣe fún wa kọ́lọ́run má bàjẹ́ ntọ́lọ́run ti ṣe fẹ́mi pẹ̀lú gbogbo wàhálà tí mo ti ṣe sẹ́yìn òun lèmi ń dá padà òun ni mò ń dá padà mo sì ń dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ọlọ́run pé torí mo mọ̀ pé kò ní hun mí kò sì ní hun mí lágbára ọlọ́run pẹ̀lú oore ọ̀fẹ́ tí mo tún wá ní pẹ̀lú ẹ̀mí ìrẹ̀lẹ̀ tí mo tún ní pẹ̀lú ẹran yìí tó ń bẹ lára mi táwọn èèyàn fi ń fẹ́ràn mi.
ẹran ọ̀fẹ́.
ẹran ọ̀fẹ́ òun náà ni ẹran ọ̀fẹ́ tí ń bẹ lára mi táwọn èèyàn fi ń fẹ́ràn mi òun làwọn èèyàn tó fi sọ pé n tí bàbá yìí ń ṣe ó mọ̀ kún wa lójú ó mọ̀ jọ wá lójú kí ló dé tẹ̀mí náà ò ràn lọ́wọ́ kí ló dé tí ì ràn lọ́wọ́ n táwọn èèyàn ṣe Instagram àwọn tó bá rí mi lórí Instagram wọn wò pé ṣé èèyàn náà irú eléyìí tún irú ẹni báyìí tún bẹ láyé irú ọba báyìí tún bẹ láyé so mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ọlọ́run táwọn míì náà bá lè ṣe ojúṣe ọlọ́run ṣe ràn wá lọ́wọ́ àti ṣe mi ìgbéraga o mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ọlọ́run ọlọ́run fún mi kémi náà dá padà ọlọ́run sì ń ṣàánú mi bíbò àṣírí mo tọrọ lọ́wọ́ ọlọ́run bíbò àṣírí ẹ̀bẹ̀ lómìnira ọ lè rò pé bàbá yìí ó ní bílíọ̀nsì lákàtúntì mo mọ̀ dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ọlọ́run mọ̀ ni bí Wàsíù ti sọ àánú ni mo rí gbà o
adé orí ọ
àánú mo rí gbà
kábíyèsí
kábíyèsí
adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín adúpẹ́ pé òkun kádé ó pẹ́ lórí kí bàtà pẹ́ lẹ́sẹ̀ kéyìn ó gbó kẹ̀kẹ́ lẹ́nu ìrùkẹ̀rẹ̀ náà ó padà wá dókẹ́ni bí n bá rí yín lẹ́yìn mi mo lè gbégún lójú ìgbà mo bá rí yín lẹ́yìn mi mo lè tó ṣàlàyà àdúgbò adélọ́jà pè yín lórúkọ tẹ̀ ń jẹ́ ìrònú kòkò ni ó pàjá ìrònú kí là á jẹsùn ni ó pọ̀ lẹ kábíyèsí ẹ pẹ́pẹ́pẹ́ báwọn bàbá yín ṣe pẹ́ ẹ jẹun ọmọ ẹ fèrègì jogbì lágbára lọ́wọ́ ọlọ́run nǹkan ò ní ṣe yín lọ́lá àwọn tó bí yín lọ́lá ọlọ́run lọ́lá gbogbo ohun tá à ń pè ní àṣà àti ṣe bàbá rí àwọn ọba àwọn náà là ń pè ní oníṣe àwọn lolùṣe àwọn ni wọ́n kó àṣà àti ohun àbáláyé àwọn wọn kó lọ́wọ́ kábíyèsí mo fẹ́ sáré kẹyìn yàn náà nǹkan kékeré àṣà gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọba ẹ̀sìn ṣé ó ṣeé ṣe kéèyàn ó kó méjèèjì pọ̀ wọ́n ló ba ló láṣà ọba ló lẹ́sìn ọba ló ní gbogbo ohun tó ń pè lẹ́sìn ṣé wọ́n ló jọ gàté kò jọ ó jọ gàté ó kẹsẹ̀ méjèèjì kí ni wọ́n fi jọra wọn.
ọkàn lẹ̀sìn wà àṣà ò létí kó tó di pé àwọn olóyìnbó dé tán gbé Christianity wá tán gbé ìgbàgbọ́ wá nǹkan kan ṣáà làwọn bàbá wa ń ṣe àbí.
abọ̀rìṣà làwọn bàbá yín abọ̀rìṣà làwọn bàbá yín bọ̀.
bó ṣe rí gan-an ọdún kan tó gbé Islam wá nǹkan kan ṣáà làwọn bàbá wa ń ṣe tọ even oògùn yìí gan kó tó gbé oògùn bàbá tó bí bàbá mi ní ìsìn ẹni tó mo wá jọ òun ó mọ pawọ́ padà gbogbo nǹkan kan tó bá.
kábíyèsí sẹ́yìn náà mọ̀wọ́ padà sẹ́yìn mọ́ bọ́ tí ń yíwọ́ padà.
èmi náà ṣe díẹ̀ ọba mẹ́wé kéde tó mú mọ́ kejì kódà mo ti jẹ láàárọ̀ yìí mo ti jẹ ewé láàárọ̀ yìí.
béèyàn bá tẹ̀ tí ń jẹ́wé dúró mọ̀wọ́ yí padà náà ni béèyàn bá jẹ́wé dúró tó bá jẹ́lá òun náà ó jáwé ó jágbó ni. All right, Kábíyèsí, thank you so much. Let's just quickly round up. It's been about over an hour and a half. Normally the program is about but I feel like just going on and on. Now let's quickly talk about those of us in the diaspora, those of us who want to speak the Queen's English and want to behave in the attitude of the Western man. The way we see Nigeria right now, and the way those living in Nigeria see us, what is the confluence? What is the confluence of thought? Because now you have somebody who has lived in the United States or in Europe for like about 20 years. Definitely there's something they call the African mentality. Now, is there anything called African mentality? Is this the Western mentality? Is this superior to us? The perspective of thought. What is your own reconciliation on this?
Well, it definitely is not superior to ours. The thing about it is you go out there. They say when you in Rome, you live like the Romans. When you get out there, they're established and they're organized. They're established and organized. And us, we're not. What they know out there, what they're doing out there, they're trying to industrialize. They're trying to better themselves. Here, I'm sorry, but the majority of our people here, there's an adage in Yoruba, say "Matomi." We don't want anybody to be at par with you, talk less of be better than you. And that's something that they don't have over there. That's something they don't have. Okay, like in New York. I lived in New York. I mean, the governor, the mayor of New York will ride the same train together. The governor of New York will ride the same train together. That doesn't happen here.
Yeah. The inequality, the inequality indices, the disparity is so obvious.
Exactly. You are above everybody. Over there, no, it doesn't work that way. They see themselves as equal. They see that if we can do the same, the Nigeria is going to be a better place for. That's why the leaders here don't understand what's going on with the masses, because they spend government money, they eat government food, so it doesn't affect them. They don't know what the masses is going through. During coronavirus, I mean, it was terrible. It was terrible. That was what forced me to start my own palliative in my community. Because I was there. I saw how people were hungry. That one was even way back. This naira scarcity thing. I knew what happened. My element is here. He was the one that they gave all their money to go and deposit in the banks. He deposited the money in the bank. He couldn't get anything back. Then they started trade by barter. Do you believe that? Trade by barter. Because people out there, the leaders they're not close to the masses. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what's going on with them. I'll go to the bank, try to look for money. I end up taking my own money to the community to try to alleviate their suffering. And I thank God, it gives me peace for me to be able to do that. But that's the thing.
Something baffles me, and I look at some of the mindset of people here and people over there. A councillor in Nigeria, a local government chairman in Nigeria, you see them being escorted around or being followed around by police officers, when they are supposed to be on duty post trying to protect lives and property. I remember a couple of weeks ago, one of the senators here representing Maryland, we met at Burger King. and we were on the
That's exactly
queue.
what I was telling you.
But do you ever see a senator in Nigeria going to any of the fast food joints and joining the queue?
No. Okay, you remember what happened to me in New York. I was driving a bus. I was driving a double-decker bus.
And that was a job. That was a job. A decent job.
I'm still a king. I was driving the bus. The angels surprised me. They went and reported me to the Nigerian consulate. They went and reported me that I was desecrating the stool. And do you know what the consul told them? There's dignity in labor.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people.
If we have more like this in Nigeria, Nigeria will be a better place for us. I'm over there. Because of what I see over there. I see the mayor riding the same bus with me. The governor riding the same bus with me. So how am I different? As a king, how am I different? I'm in America. So when I get to Nigeria, whatever I see over there, that's what I do here. That's why a lot of people say you're easily accessible. You are accessible. Yeah. Why wouldn't I be accessible? I'm equal to you. I'm the same. I'm your servant. I call myself a servant leader.
A lot of people don't understand that.
That's the mindset all leaders need to imbibe here in Nigeria. We are servant leaders, and that's it. So that's the difference between what happens in the Western world and what happens in Africa. It's not just Nigeria alone. It's all over Africa. We need to change that mindset. If we don't change that mindset, things will not change.
All right. Kabiesi, just to on a lighter note, I want us to go back to you now, and because there's no way we are going to complete this program without saying something about your family. Because everybody knows Kaladi African Tiger now as a wrestler, as an entertainer, as a king, and as a bus driver, as everything. Can you just quickly give us an insight to who is Ladi African, Ladi African Tiger, not the king now, but the husband and the father of children?
Oh, well, I thank God. I thank God for what He has done for me, with me. Well, I mean, just like I have said, but the glory of God. I didn't. Whatever I have, I don't. It's not me that has it. It's God that have it. I'm just a tool in the hand of the Almighty. I have a wife, Rosalina Oba Buremoh. I have beautiful kids that I'm so proud of. I am so proud of them. In the face of adversity, these kids went beyond the call of duty to say, we're going to make this man proud. And they've made me proud. I can boast, of having pharmacists, as children. So what else do I want? I have them, and I'm so proud of them. And I thank God for giving them to me. And they're proud of me. I can tell you that. They're proud of me, and I'm proud of them, and I thank God for the opportunity.
Kabiesi, quickly, I don't know. It's as if this person was reading your mind. Olufemi Owolabi says, Kabiesi, sir, I know you to be a great man, full of humility and a giver. I know there is someone behind you who contributed to the success of your dreams. Kudos to you, my amiable Olori. And that's Olori right there beside the king there.
Just like I have said, I mean, there's no successful man without a rock behind him. And Olori has been my rock. She's been there. She's been there, for me, with me, and I thank God for the support. Without her support, I wouldn't have been able to do what I'm doing. I mean, you can imagine which woman will allow you to. Whatever your hard-earned money, you just spend it. You just spend it on other people. Hey, this is Nigeria. No woman will allow that. But she allowed it. She assisted. Actually, on a yearly basis, she gives palliatives to our people on December 24. That's her own contribution towards the development of community of Idera. And so I really do appreciate her.
Okay, so. In higher climes, we have office of the first lady, as the president, governor, and all that. Do we also have an office of the first lady? That's the Olori. Is there an office? Is there any executive power? Is there anything she does? Is she part of decision making in your council?
Well, not really. She's not part of decision making. She's just in an advisory capacity. And
Okay.
with me,
Sticking to tradition.
I allow her to say to have a say in what happens with the women. I do allow that, and there's a yellow day in the community, but then I allow her to oversee what the women do, and her role has been influential in making the Dera better.
Yeah,
So
that. I think that's is according to the provision of our tradition. The
yeah,
the role of the Olori is advisory, and I think it's very good because when you see any king that is successful, please look out for the Olori. Okay,
yeah.
Kabiyesi, we're just like I said, we are winding up. I just want to quickly put out a word there to your numerous fans, followers, people you have mentored. Just put out a word to them before we leave.
Well, I just want to appreciate everybody that's been loving me from the beginning. Hey, yeah, just like I have said, Ori Ofeni. I thank you. I really do appreciate you. Not just Nigerians. I have friends everywhere, especially in New York. They're crazy about me. They keep telling me, "Lady, you're gone. Lady, you're gone." No, I'm not gone. I'm still here. And my friends, my fans, you're the ones that keep me ticking. You're the ones that keep me going. Even when I started the vocational training center and I put it out there, news that the comments that people was streaming on my WhatsApp, on my Instagram, I didn't know when I started crying, because I mean, who am I? Who am I? I'm just a tool in the hands of the Almighty, and I want to remain that tool. As long as I have breath, I will continue to serve humanity. Thank you very much. Thank you for the support. Thanks. I thank everybody for the support, and I promise never to disappoint you.
Okay, obviously this is just letting the cat out of bag. Just very briefly, I don't know how you can code that. What is going on September 1st? What is going
Oh
on?
no! Oh my God! Oh my God!
What is going on September? Because everybody seems to be talking
Well.
about September. I heard you mention it too. What is happening
Yeah,
September 1st?
yeah. I have a set of friends in the US. That my kids initially they wanted to celebrate my birthday. My birthday is in August, but then they picked the date in September 1. And we have decided that there are a lot of friends that I have there that want to be a part of the development of the Dera community, not just the Dera community, but all the communities that are catered for. And they decided, hey, why don't you bring us into your cabinet? You bring us in your cabinet that like you did in 2009, and we'll join you in the development of the Dera community. So they've decided they want to raise funds to build my CBT center. The proposed CBT center, they want to raise funds, with me for me to help construct the CBT center. And we have started the process. Just like I've said, our own Enigma is part. I mean, he's the Arego Bani of Idera, proposed Arego Bani of Idera. He's doing
Kabiyesi
that
has thrown
already.
me out there. Kabiyesi has
He's
thrown me
doing
out
that
there.
already. So everybody's we're looking forward to September 1. And I've actually intimated the governor about it. And, if he's not able to make it, we know he's going to send, the SA diaspora, Dr. Sawyer. We're all looking forward to it. It's all a part of making Kwara better. It's all a part of making Idera better. It's all a part of making Nigeria better, because there's going to be a cultural showcase in Louisville, Kentucky. We're all looking forward to it. September.
I cannot I can't tell you how much I'll be looking forward to seeing all these great people in United States of America. You can imagine, and I'm using this opportunity to actually tell the governor, Your Excellency, sir, I would love to see you in Louisville. I'm sure one of his people are watching. I also love to see Abike Dabiri. That's our diaspora leader here.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be nice to see all of them. So
It's
going to be
it's going to put the Nigerian touch to it, the national touch to it.
Yeah. I mean, we are putting our country on a global map, and I think that's very, very good for all of us. Thank you so much, Kabiyesi. Your Royal Highness, the Onidera of Idera, Oba James Oladipo Buremoh Ajagungbade one. Thank you so much, and I want to also thank the whole of Idera community. Kade Ukpelori Kabiyesi, Kibata Ukpe, lẹ́sẹ̀ kéyìn ó gbó kẹ̀kẹ́ lẹ́nu ìrẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀ ó dòkè ní pẹ́pẹ́pẹ́ bí pẹ́pẹ́ ti pẹ́. I thank you so much, and I also want to thank your wife, your very amiable wife, for doing a very great job. I want to also appreciate your children. I'm wishing them good success wherever they are. And to all the Idera community, the whole of the kingdom of Idera, we thank you. And to all friends who have also done one thing or the other for Idera, we want to, on behalf of the king, on behalf of the Oba, I'm saying thank you so much. And to that great state of mind, Kwara State, we're saying please keep going higher. We can do better. And to all my teaming fans watching, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow us again for next week. For every time we come on the show. And we know that it's going to be a very wonderful. Until, let me quickly just take a break. I will come back and then I'll come and say my bye-bye. The stories that are most important to us are stories about me, you, and others. Such stories are about politics, economy, landmark achievements, institutions, sports, and entertainment.
Ready. Diving in on top of the new spoiler. 1, 2, 3. And Laddie, the African Tiger, picks up the victory. What a tremendous comeback by this young man. One of
Those are some of the action clips of the monarch as Laddie African Tiger in his youthful days. Now can you take a guess as to whom you saw frying Gary? Well, that is the Onidera of Idera, Oba Oladipo Buremoh Ajagungbade I, displaying his mastery in the art of frying Gary. Humility personified, you would agree, the royal father did not stop at that, as he equally engages students in class as one of his passion towards developing his community.
Who's this? Tortoise.
No wonder this corps member, having seen the monarch's drive towards enhancing the standard of education in his kingdom, voluntarily goes to Idera once a week for extra moral lessons.
My original plan was to go into educational rural development, so I came across KBSC and I spoke to KBSC, and he saw it as an awesome idea.
With peaceful coexistence as his watchword, Oba Oladipo Buremoh rules over different ethnic groups who migrated to his community for greener pastures.
See, they peacefully, no any problem. I benefit for farm. 1, 2. The place that I live, my children are not going to school, but I come here, they are going to school.
The monarch also travels outside the country to work and raise funds with which he develops his community.
Before I became Oba, I lived in New York. I work with New York City sightseeing company. It's a sightseeing company. I mean, we'll take people around from all over the world in New York City. And once they realized that I was made king, they told me, we'll allow you to retain your job for life. And because as far as they were concerned, they couldn't understand why, I was royalty, I was a prince, and I never let them know that I was a prince. I told them I didn't have to. But then I saw the opportunity to develop my community. With whatever I make there, I come home and I use it with help from other friends to develop my community. You've seen the difference.
Though Idera is endowed with agricultural and mineral resources, it is not without its challenges.
Because our place is very good for cassava.
Yes, welcome back. We're still on the show and we're just winding up. We have Kabiyesi and Olori there. I'm just trying to share some pictures for you to just see Kabiyesi and the beautiful Olori. There they go again. And this was when Kabiyesi, I think there was a time Kabiyesi, this was in Dubai when Kabiyesi went for the summit. I'm sure he's just guessing how I got all these pictures. And this is KBSC chilling. That's the American version of KBSC. KBSC, when was this? Before you leave, where was this? We cannot hear you. I think your microphone is muted. KBSC, we cannot hear you. Okay, we're winding up. I don't know why we can't hear KBSC. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. But
okay, yeah, I can hear you now. When was this?
Oh no.
When was this, KBSC? When was this?
That was 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago.
KBSC, you look like a small boy here. You really, really look like a very small boy there. All right, it's been a very wonderful day, and it's been a very long day too. We got like about 2 hours with KBSC. We thank you for your time, and like I've exchanged, like I've said my bye-byes to all the people around you. I also want to say again, this program, we are open to sponsorship, to partnership, and we'll be looking out for anybody who is interested in being a part of this program of our success story. So once again, KBSC, we thank you very much for coming. All right, distinguished viewers, we've had our goldfish for today in the person of Oba James Oladipo Buremoh Ajagungbade 1, the Onidera of Idera Kingdom. We also want to thank you very much for your support, because without you watching, it will just be fruitless coming on air. Please, so don't only subscribe to the program, also share with your friends. Let them also be a part of viewing, and let them watch and let us see what's going on. There's a lot to learn. We also have another brand that is coming up very, very shortly, and you will be seeing that on this program. On behalf of all of us here in the studio, on behalf of Adorable, on behalf of everybody that has been a party and a part to this program, I want to say thank you very much for joining us. See you again very, very soon. Usually this program comes your way Saturdays in Nigerian time, 2 p.m. In America, DC time, 9 a.m. Texas time is 8 a.m. Thank you for being a part of our program. We thank you so much. We sincerely appreciate your patience, watching, listening, and being a part of us. Until I see you again next week, have a very wonderful weekend.